Welcome to the Friday Everyday Podcast. This is where we share and explore how to design a thriving business and lifestyle so that we can live the lives we've always wanted right now.
It's where strategy meets energy work. It's where we'll unpack how to build a business that works for you and we'll make it tangible and actionable. I'm Jody Rumack, an online business coach, and my mission is to help you grow and scale your online business to create time freedom so that you can spend more time doing the things you love with the people you love.
And I'm Brian DeCastro. As a holistic health practitioner and Reiki master, my part in this mission is to provide self-care support and spiritual guidance to business owners who are shifting to align with their next level way of being.
So come and join us here where every day feels like Friday and the vibe is fun, inspiring, and real.
Just sit back, relax, and enjoy. This moment is yours and you've earned it.
This is the Friday Everyday Podcast. All right, welcome you guys. Welcome to our very first episode of 2026. We are in episode number 8, and I am so excited to dive in because there is a lot of stuff to talk about today. A lot of finishing up 2025, wrap-ups, clearing things out, letting things go, and of course, getting into 2026 and what we think is coming up and what we're going to be focusing on that might help you guys to figure out exactly what you're going to focus on as well. And just really excited to dive in. So let's get started.
Yeah, we thought this was going to be a two-parter. Turns out we did the first part together on our own, and some of that is going to trickle into today. The first part was basically what we were celebrating and reflecting on in 2025, but also what we were letting go, and we'll share some of that in the session today. But instead of doing two completely different episodes, we decided we can blend it now. We spent enough time with it. I think we can blend it together. So I'm excited to really stir the pot and cast some spells on what we want to do in 2026. And feel really intentional, awake. We learned a lot last year, and I feel like we're hitting the ground, at least jogging a little bit and picking up speed. So I'm really excited for what's coming up next. So we came up with five things to riff on today, and we'll just get going into it, but we'll see what kind of comes up from there.
Okay, well, maybe let's start with a bit of a 2025 recap first. So one thing that we started to do in December 2024 was we actually do these audio recordings for ourselves about the month or the quarter or wherever we're at. And so we did that in December for 2025. And
it was at least an hour and a half conversation.
Yeah, and we thought in that recording that we were going to do 2025 and 2026, but we didn't. It took us like an hour and a half to unpack and get through everything that happened for us in 2025, and it was a big year. So I guess we shouldn't be surprised that it took so long. But maybe start with sharing what are the couple of things that really came up for you.
Yeah, I think it's a great exercise. I love doing it. I love doing that time of the day, the time of the year as well, because things are quiet. It's after the Christmas sort of events, and we're just settling in. At the time, we're sitting on the couch, and there's some nice snow trickling down outside, and it was just a great vibe. And looking back, we kind of look back at January, February, and all the things that happened, but both in the business and in personal life, we knew a lot of stuff happened, but when we think back to it, it's like, wow, it almost felt like lifetimes ago. So it was a very full year. That's what I was telling people when they asked about 2025. It was a very full year, a lot of significant changes, a lot of beautiful memories that also happened, both like little subtle things, but also just other things that came up, like some of the trips that we took. Was a great win for us that we created that possibility to do the things that we wanted to do, that we've been dreaming of and envisioning. Some family shifts happened, positive family shifts happened, and really proud of what my son has been accomplishing in the last little while. Um, you and him have been also establishing a bit of relationship together as well. So, yeah, just some really amazing moments. And um, I, the other thing, the overall thing I tell people too is like, because we talk about this a lot with the blending of business and personal. For me, at least, some of the personal things that have happened in the last year were more significant and more critical to what's coming next, even in business. So I think
What
a
do you
lot
mean by
of
that?
I just feel like a lot of the things that we're kind of weighing in on our thoughts and our concerns with even just our things in our personal life also impact our rhythm and flow in productivity and the things that we do, right? It took me several months to get used to the um Ryan and Stella coming for a week and then gone for a week and oh shit, I gotta actually get up early and make sure my son's out of bed and take him to school. Like, juggling that stuff with the hockey stuff and the rhythm that we've needed to have um when we're working together here. Um a lot of shifts and changes had to happen to allow the flow. I think we have a bit more of a flow now. We didn't have the flow yet. Even like the first half of 2025, we didn't figure it out yet. So
Yeah. This
that was pretty significant, I think.
Yeah, I think just to kind of go back and give a bit more um, background for people who maybe don't know or haven't been listening from the beginning. Last year in December, you got in this crazy car accident.
Yeah.
You totaled your freaking car.
Yeah.
And thankfully, you were completely fine, at least physically, anyways.
Hmm.
Um, maybe we were both a little rattled for a while, but that was like a wake up call for you in terms of the planning and the running around and the all the things that you were responsible for and stuff like that, right? And from that you made a bunch of changes in the way that you um had to do all of those things. You got some support to be able to get other people to help you with the driving and things like that. So that was kind of a wake up call, and that was it. It's now been just over a year since that happened, and so there was that big switch. And then in December last year, we also went to this retreat with our friend Greg, who's a really phenomenal, amazing retreat leader. And we went to that retreat, and it was right around the time of the accident. You had the accident, and then we went like 3 days later. So it was
Yeah.
like really a crazy time. And last year was the best year JRC has ever had. And so last year being 2024, I should say, was our best year ever. And so in December, going into January, also you and I had just decided to start working together in November of 2024. And
Yeah.
so in December, here we are. We've just had this car accident happen. We're at this retreat. We're planning for 2025. And we're thinking we're just going to scale what we've done in
Yeah.
2024 and with the both of us.
Hmm.
And we get into 2025 and we realize that is not what's happening.
Yeah.
Instead, we literally burned down the old program that I had been running for 5 years, the Time Freedom Club group coaching program that I've been running successfully for literally 5 years, and we decided to shut it down. And so all the dreams of scaling what we did in 2024 literally went up in smoke.
Yeah.
So, we had clients who were finishing out. We didn't, just end the program. We let clients finish and we did everything that we needed to do in order to make that happen. But in the meantime, we launched Becoming the CEO, our virtual studio co-working program. And so that's just like a bit of context for anybody who's just kind of catching up now, right? And so for anyone whose 2025 didn't go the way that they thought it was going to, I'll let you talk about the numerology and the spirituality and all of that stuff. But what I know is it was what they call a 9 year.
Hmm.
And that 9 year was in 2025, and it made or helped a lot of things come to a close.
Hmm.
And that definitely happened for us. And it happened early. Like it started happening early. And so, And closing doesn't mean bad, right? The end doesn't mean it's bad. It was a big leap for us. It was a huge leap of faith. We knew that we were going to go through this transition year. We knew that the chances of the revenue being the same as the year before was probably not that great.
Mhm.
Not to say that we weren't trying and all that stuff, but like when there's a transition, there's a transition. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
And that was a huge part of what happened in 2025. And so we essentially spent the rest of the year figuring out what the new offers were going to be
Hmm.
and figuring out how to serve our becoming the CEO clients at the best, in the best way possible. And it's happening again, even right now in this moment where there's so much to say about 2025 before we even get to 2026. But I just wanted to share for everybody who's listening that if 2025 was a hard year for you, like we hear you, we get you. You are so not alone in that. And and 2026 is now in a 1 year new, renew, all of that stuff. And I don't know about you, but I'm loving the energy of 2026 already.
Yeah, it's that's funny. I'm familiar with numerology, astrology, all the energetics around um the year to year and the calendar and all the things going on collectively and cosmically. I'm aware of it, but I don't follow it really closely. But what was interesting when we're speaking to our words in maybe one of our group calls about, share in the chat the words that you feel sort of like summarizes 2025 for you. I didn't even think about it until that moment till we shared the exercise with the group. And the word shedding came up for me, shedding and completing and letting go. And
Yeah.
then someone mentioned that it was the year of the snake. I had no idea.
Right.
And it just made so much sense. Like, and I guess to share with listeners is like trust your intuition of what's coming up. I say, what is the theme of the year rather than a resolution? Like, what is the theme that's coming up for you and trust what comes through, both what you're feeling coming through, but also what your intended theme is. Like, where do you want to end up at the end of the year? We we put some pretty like strong declarations in that retreat down because we're operating a really high level frequency with the crew there.
Yeah.
We were less afraid to set these big goals. And remember that the universe is listening and it's preparing to pull the trigger for you. So what happened to us uh, sort of also led to a little bit of like some dismantling of stuff really quickly, but also um, we had to kind of just, be we realized in our annual tracking when we're tracking things on the wall, we're
Yeah.
like, holy shit! Like after like January, February, we're like, oh yeah, we set those goals in December. That's why, like in as we go into March, we feel kind of lost right now,
Yeah.
right? Like, and we there was moments of I call it free falling. That moment before you pull the chute when you go skydiving, which I haven't done yet, but that moment where you're just like free falling for a bit, and then we had to just figure it out. One thing we did was also we just continuously just kept moving forward. What is the move we can make today to continue moving forward? We can't look back right now, right? Even to the things that worked in the past. We just have to keep moving forward into the initiative that we have going on. And then the first launch of the membership, we had a great outcome as far as
Yeah.
registrations. And then, fast forward into the summer, July, we had the best month ever, both individually and combined.
Yeah.
We come together. So, and we look back and like, how did we do that? And we're like, we just kept fucking moving.
Right.
Like, and there was moments, there was tears, there was stress, there was sleepless nights, there was a lot of stuff that happened,
Yeah.
but it's because it's uncomfortable. Asking
Yeah.
for that level, that amount of change doesn't come with a ton of certainty and it's uncomfortable. And that's a lot of reason why we turn around and go back and do the old things again because they're familiar, right? So I think it's because also we were supporting each other along the way. And and we
Absolutely.
really love what we're doing now with the people that we're working with.
Yeah.
It just fits and it feels so right that it's easier to just like say, you know what? These are the things we need to do. Let's go. And then there's other times where we had a lot of things on deck that we were going to launch. We also just decided we don't have what we need to deliver this powerfully. Let's just call it. Let's
Yeah.
take this off the schedule and focus on what's in front of us right now and also get some sleep, take care of ourselves, do a couple beach trips or whatever it is that we do just to kind of recharge our own batteries.
Yeah.
Um, we just we weren't gonna go forward with anything that was sub par to our standards, right? To what we want to deliver. So
Yeah.
we're very aware, we're very awake and aware inside of all this changing that was happening.
Yeah. And I think a big part of that, and then we can kind of wrap up the 2025 stuff, but when you're saying we didn't have what we needed to deliver, it was like mostly it was about bandwidth, right?
Yeah.
It was about time and bandwidth. It wasn't, resources or things like that, right? We wanted to make sure that what we put out was amazing. And that's exactly what happened when we put out the workshop program to teach people how to create a workshop that converts in July, and it converted like crazy. And that's because that program is freaking amazing, if we do say so ourselves. Like it has everything in it. We worked so hard on creating it and it worked, right? So there's that. But any other time, like this is actually into 2026, and I'm sure we'll get back to it in a little bit. But when we went to do our 2026 planning and we had all these things that we were going to put in, and then we looked at it all together and we went, wait a second, like that's more than what we want or can take on
Yeah.
in our bandwidth, and we literally just like scrapped a whole bunch of it. So we can get spit it out, Jody. We
Mm.
can get into that a little bit more in a few minutes, but let's just kind of wrap up 2025 stuff, because after we did that meeting and like we did the recording that we always do just for ourselves, the other thing that we do regularly is we have on our wall, if anyone's seen our wall, you know that we have calendars and whiteboards and cork boards and all the things up. And on one of those boards, we keep track of what happens every single month. So just like, high level bullet points of what happened so that we can stay what we call awake, right?
Yeah.
And pay attention to what's going on. So that was super helpful. And one quick like tip on that is, and this is what we told all of our clients as well when we did our goal setting, is take your goals and put them somewhere where you're going to see them every single day. So that's a really big one. And we finished up the recording. We actually did a burning ceremony where we took all the things that we do not need or want for the new year and wrote them down and then burned them in our little fire and released them, got rid of them so that we don't have to worry about any of that stuff. And all of that led up to us working on our 2026 plans and, of course, running our goal setting session with our BTC Becoming the CEO members on December the 30th, which was killer. It was
Yeah.
so good, full house. It was so nice to have everybody there and get everybody back into the zone and really thinking through their year. And this is one of the things that I think is so important. It's like review, reflect, assess what has happened before you go and try to set new goals and create your plans for the upcoming month, quarter, or year, whatever it is. So that was a really, really fun session that we had never done before at that time of the year. It was really awesome.
Yeah, I even just like 24 hours before that, I was like, I don't know where I'm gonna find what I need to to deliver on this session. But once we got closer to it, once we stepped into it, once all the people showed up, I was so excited. And when it was done, it was like, wow, we're back in. And then all of a sudden, also too, I noticed like there was a lot more clarity and excitement and energy as we're preparing to go into the new year. And I just felt so much more prepared,
Yeah,
which obviously is the intention, but um, prepared and excited for everyone else who showed up
absolutely.
because you could tell how serious they are about achieving their goals this month. or this year because of who showed up and how they were all dialed in, right? At a
Yeah.
time where it's kind of hard to kind of get up for something because you're still kind of in relaxation mode or whatever, holiday
Yeah.
mode. It was great to see everyone popping in on the call. So
Yeah. So good. Yeah. Okay, so let's get into 2026. Let's start with our first piece here, which is talking about letting go of playing small.
yes. So I sat down to these and we've been discussing some of it as well. When we were in that session on the 30th too, we talked about some of the words that are coming up as you know them so far as you go into 2026. Like what are some of the themes coming up for you? For me, boldness, the word bold came up. Um, so, what at least I'm trying to call in now, I think we are calling in now is more boldness, being bolder, um, and letting go of playing small. So, how does it look in our business? In our business, the way we set the activity targets, what we're doing, what we're up to, we're going to stretch a little bit, you know. But one thing that's gonna help us this year is um, simplicity and effectiveness, right? So just like how we crossed out that whole other thing that actually, in theory, would have had a big revenue builder, we traded that out for something else that was simpler, easier to deliver on, and the main thing, rather
Yeah.
than pulling our efforts and dividing our efforts out of what the main thing is. So,
Yeah.
um,
So, sorry, just to like really clarify for everybody. So, we actually had on the calendar when we planned for 2026, we actually had planned to run specific workshops to sell some of our other programs. So, full transparency here, right? We had planned to do some workshops to sell our group coaching program, which we still have in a self-paced version. We also were planning to do some workshops to sell the workshop program to help you guys create workshops that convert, also in the self-paced version. And when we looked at our calendar, we just decided that instead of spending our energy trying to do something else, we were going to stay focused on doing whatever we needed to do to grow our Becoming the CEO membership, which is our main program now. And so we literally looked at it and went, I don't think so, and like scrapped probably 4 or 5 different workshops throughout the year.
Yeah, yeah. And it's you do go through a phase. This is why we scratched things out of schedule last year was I experienced some moments of like promotional burnout. Like
Yep.
I'm just tired of like promoting stuff and in saturating our communication with there's always this other thing. What we did was sometimes we traded it out for let's just do a fun thing, right?
Yeah.
Let's do a fun event. We're not even charging for it. Let's just like reconnect with everybody and just get into the DMs and chat with people, see how they're doing, put the effort into that rather than trying to launch some other thing, which in theory might have made sense in the calendar, but at the time further back when we made it, but it didn't make sense anymore. Like we talk about reforecasting. I learned this back when I was in the club, reforecasting especially after the first quarter, second quarter, like reforecasting your financial targets just because shit happens, right? Shit gets done, but shit also happens, right? And we did that too. We reforecasted our financial target last year, wrote it down into the December, and then just carried on. And we ended up hitting the number, right? And just so you guys know, like if you're gonna write down a number, like add 5, 10, 15% because
Yeah.
you might probably hit the number, right? So, um, keeping it simple and effective allows us to be able to deliver, impeccably, right? And powerfully and keeps the main thing, right? So, in the health targets, we use a similar approach as far as, simplicity and effectiveness, right? So, what is necessary for performing at the next level? What do we want? What do we want or need from our bodies, and what does bodies need from us in order to perform at our best? And we just, you could speak to what you're doing right now, but I think for me, there's one or two things I'm focusing on this week, which is getting in bed before 11. So my sleep has been a factor. We learned that when we slept a lot more over the holidays.
Yeah.
Um, And the second thing is I'm gonna tighten the window that I'm eating in. And I because I've
Yeah.
also been going to bed. I also been topping up on calories a little too close before bed, and it's affecting my sleep. So they're both related to sleep, right? So that's enough for now.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
enough because I think that's going to be a very high yielding move for me.
Yeah.
Um, how about for you for health and fitness and well-being? What are some of the simple yet effective moves you're going to make?
Yeah. I think that one of the things, not I think, I know, one of the things that we've been talking about a lot is micro habits
Yeah.
and keeping things small and tangible and light and easy and all that stuff. And we both come from a fitness background, but that doesn't mean that we always want to work out. Like it
Mhm.
just doesn't. It doesn't automatically mean that. And so for me, it's been a bit of a challenge to get my movement in and my workouts in consistently for the last, like, I would say 4 months or so. Since the summer, it's been tougher for me. And so one of the things that I decided was just like little micro habits that I'm going to set weekly instead of saying all year, every day, starting tomorrow, I'm doing this. It's
Yeah.
like too much. So I decided that I was just going to set the goals for the week. And so the goal for this week was just to move 3 times this week.
Yeah.
Get I have a little walking pad inside. We go for walks outside a lot, um, 3 times this week. And I plan to start on Monday because I'm not a January 1st person. I'm a first Monday of the year person. And I plan to do that. And today is Tuesday. And I actually felt on Sunday, I actually felt like I really wanted to get that movement in. So I did. And then I did it on Monday. And then this morning, I actually did it again. And so I was talking to a client this morning who was actually, we were talking about her habits and some challenges she was having, which ended up being pretty similar to mine right now. And in that conversation, I realized I've actually done 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
And so, even as an expert fitness professional, we still have these challenges come up sometimes. We still have times of the year or, you know, times of the month or whatever it is that can be challenging with how busy you are or what's going on and stuff like that. And I just really wanted to keep it simple. And I wanted one of my goals for this year is to keep my promises to myself. And it might sound really simplistic, but that is actually one of the things that most people don't do. They don't keep their own promises to themselves. And so for me, it's not that I am setting low targets so that I can hit them. I'm starting with something small so that I can feel the momentum of keeping my promises to myself. And as that momentum builds, I will gradually change or add or maybe stay the same even, right? Whatever is feeling good, but the idea right now is that I'm actually going to set the goals on a weekly basis instead of these bigger chunks and, bigger expectations and stuff. I'm just keeping it simple now and just trying to get the ball rolling, keeping some momentum going.
Yeah, and, circling back to this first theme of being bolder, and we're actually bridging. This is a bridge later in the third one
Yeah.
in the powerful productivity theme. But with regard to being bolder, we're looking at it from a different perspective. In the past, I've wanted to be bolder, and I set these crazy targets out. I also set these crazy expectations on how overnight my activity is supposed to change
Right.
from like 1.0 to 3.0. It's sustainable for a couple weeks, and then things start to fall off. So
Yeah.
what we're talking about is those staying present, staying awake in the game, small micro habits over time that lead to playing a bigger game, lead to showing up stronger, and allowing all these things to come through just simply because if we were filming a documentary, people to follow us around, they would be able to see us in the kitchen, hopefully, taking an extra couple seconds to process how we're feeling and what we need to give our body to choose the next meal versus defaulting and automatically going over to the cupboard and grabbing something easy, snacking on something while we're talking about what we're going to eat. We're already snacking. These mindless things that we tend to do as humans sometimes. that makes us wonder in the end of the end of the month, end of the week, whatever, we jump on the scale or we're looking in the mirror, whatever, like, why is nothing happening? Well, you did a whole bunch of things like literally while you were sleepwalking. It's
Yeah.
like, right? And so what we're doing is trying to stay awake in the game with this theme of being bolder, coming, showing up stronger, choosing yourself, choosing a bigger way of being, a better way of being that will awaken the part of us that wants to operate at this another level.
Yeah. I wanted to share one other quick sort of tip too is that at least for me, and this is not for everybody, and you don't have to do it, and it's all good. But if you are someone who likes to track and you like to measure and stuff like that, I don't like to do it all the time, but I like to do it when I'm trying to get back into where I want to be. And I like to do it to just bring up the awareness, and it actually helps me make those better choices like you talked about because I know I'm tracking it and I know what's going to happen if I choose the muffin instead of the grapes.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I'm also doing, but I'm doing it with the intention of just gathering the data,
Mhm.
not to be mad at myself and not to like do any of that stuff, but just to get a little bit more clear on like what's going on, right? And then be able to again make those adjustments slowly and not just suddenly decide I'm eating exactly this and chicken and broccoli at every meal. Like it's not that, right? And that's not
Mhm.
sustainable. And we know that from being in the fitness industry for forever and a day. Um, so just like again, slow and sustainable and micro habits and sort of micro goals as well.
Yeah. Awesome. So this bridges actually nicely in the second one, uh, being bolder, leading to the second one, which is speaking our truth.
Mm.
And in order to speak our truth more and show up more authentically, um, what we're letting go of is judgment or inner judgment, outer judgment, the fear of judgment, all the other things that make us censor ourselves. And, obviously we're not looking to be inappropriate, offensive, mean. For me, it comes from a loving, caring, and kind place. But sometimes what I might have to say, which is my truth that I'm owning, may not may not land well for somebody else or rub them the wrong way or whatever, but
Yeah.
I I can no longer be responsible for other people's triggers and background stories or, you know, programs and conditioning and stuff. It's too much for us to try to manage all that. It's
Yeah.
not our stuff to be managed. And I would expect the same thing the other way around. So speaking our truth is a big one. It's been tough because like social media is a challenge sometimes. We're doing this podcast now, which I'm hoping that we can actually continue and be bolder and speak more, you know,
Yeah.
who we really are as we're doing this. So it's a great exercise for us to do this. Uh,
Yeah.
in business, it'll like I said, it'll show up in your communications. It'll show up how you coach. It'll show up how you create and share content.
Yeah.
Um, not for again, not for shock value or extra clicks or whatever, but more so just to be true, right? In our personal life and relationships, it also carries over. It actually almost carries over even more. If there's a relationship or a friendship or something that is kind of pulling at you that you're not feeling authentic inside of anymore, or there's an energy or a covert contract going on in the background, it could affect the way we share publicly. So this is a huge one, and I'm hoping for anyone listening, if there's anything, any situation, any relationship, or anything going on right now that you feel is pulling at you, causing you to censor yourself, um, first just be aware of it and take a little look at it and see if there's I would say, some potential there to
Yeah.
unleash who you really are.
Yeah. There are so many places I want to go with this conversation right now. So there's a few things that come to mind and I'll try to like tie them together. But as we have been talking about like our business and our personal life are not separate. And one of the things that happens inside of becoming the CEO with our clients is that they actually end up sharing a lot of their personal stuff with us and confidentially, of course, and all of that. And a lot of the time, and this is something we noticed even back when we were doing the group coaching program before BTC, a lot of the time, the reason that people aren't getting things done in the business is because there's something personal going on. And what I have found myself doing a lot is actually coaching people on how to have these tough conversations with the people that they are struggling with. Whether it is their partner, whether it's a friend, whether it's their mother, whether it's their sibling, like whatever it is. And I can think of off the top of my head like 3 or 4 conversations I've had in not that long a period of time where this thing was really weighing them down personally, but also in their business. And this is one of the things that I can't remember if I've actually talked about it on the podcast or not yet, but I'm actually a certified crucial conversations expert. And this is a program that I took when I was living my corporate life and I was in, middle upper management, and they were teaching us all this stuff about how to have quote unquote tough conversations. And this is a skill, man. This is a really important skill that I think would really serve everybody who is willing and open and able to take in this information. So I'm going to just suggest a couple of books if people are interested in this stuff. And if you're interested in learning how to have really solid conversations that might be scary to have, that you're unsure if you should have or
Yeah.
not. Maybe you're not sure what thing to actually talk about because there's so many of them, or maybe you're not sure how to approach it or whatever it is. So 2 books by the same group of people, Carrie Patterson and company. One is called Crucial Conversations. One is called Crucial Accountability. And these books literally changed my life. I started reading them back in 2007 or 8 or 9, something like that. And at the time, I was opening clubs across the country, fitness clubs across the country, training the personal training team, hiring them, developing them, and all that. And then I had my own team, 13 different locations. And you don't realize how often this can come in handy, not only in business, but in your personal life as well. And so, as far as communications and living your truth and all that stuff, when we learn to have these conversations in a way that can be productive, that is going to be a game changer for everybody. So I love that one. And on the other side of, living your truth, it's like honoring yourself, knowing what's right for you, not worrying about whether other people think it's right or not. It's like, do you know in your heart that what you're thinking about or what happened or what you're going to do, what actions you're going to take, if you feel good about them, whether it's what you're saying on social media or what you're talking about with your spouse, friend, or otherwise, like it doesn't matter. It's like everyone needs to just know for themselves what is true, and everything else will fall into place from there.
Yeah, I feel that just really simply put is is establishing clear boundaries and communicating them when needed, or your terms of which you agree on something, or which you show up for something. I like to joke about my cousin's line is my first answer is no, right? And he says, my first answer is no, but it's not because I don't want to hang out. It's not because I don't want to do that thing or drive across town and stay overnight at I want to. But my first answer is no because I'm so freaking busy and I'm devoted to my job, my work every day, and I'm devoted to my family.
Yeah.
And if I can make that happen without impacting those things, without shaking me off the main thing,
Yeah.
then there's a possibility. Those are my terms. There's a possibility I can make it and I can show up and I can have a fucking blast, right? So I love that because in the past I've said yes to too many things.
Mm.
And sometimes coming out of that going, how am I going to get that time back? How am I going to get that 5 hours back, right? Or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to establish that even at the micro level too. Not always picking up the phone when it's ringing just because it's ringing,
You
right?
never
Which
pick up
which
the phone.
I never do that anyways.
But listen
But
to me.
to anyone who calls me and I never pick up, this is why. Because I'm doing something, I'm focused on something, and it takes me a lot to get into that zone.
Yeah.
The minute I pick up the phone and get into some other conversation, for one, I'm not present with you.
Yeah.
And I want to be present in that
Yes.
conversation. Two,
Absolutely.
I don't want to be in a rush. If you have a really crazy, something that like you really need support in or sounding in or whatever, I want to be there for you. And I
Yeah.
want to make sure there's enough time, energy, bandwidth, and I'm present
Yeah.
to support if needed.
Absolutely.
And the last thing is it takes energy. If I get sidetracked into another conversation,
Yeah.
um, when I was editing or when I was trying to write something or whatever, when I was in another zone, it's gonna suck bandwidth not only to go into another channel of conversation, but also it's gonna suck bandwidth for me to get back, if I even get back into the other thing,
Yeah.
to refocus again.
Yeah.
And it's just too critical. It's too important right now for all of us. Um, to stay in our mission. Like any of the successful, really successful people you know are amazingly good at this. They're amazingly good at saying no and
Yeah.
knowing when to say yes,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
when they show up strong, right? Because they have boundaries and terms that they live by. So this is a huge one.
Yeah. I love this one. And that actually goes perfectly into the next one, which is powerful productivity.
Yes. With regard to powerful productivity, I think about um, the other day when we sat down to we're leading a working co-working session, and one of our work, the work we were doing at the time, is completing with planning out January, planning out our goals for the year. Before we even touched January, it was already full of stuff. Like I have two hockey tournaments. One of them's in one of them's across the border. Um, so a lot of hockey stuff is there, but just there's a lot of things not only in the calendar already, but there's a lot of things that need our attention in a very critical way, especially in the first 2 months of the year, right? And then we started filling everything in,
Yeah.
right? And what is different for me, looking at a very full January on our calendar for this month, is what would normally stress me out now has me excited because I know that all the things that are in there are things that we're excited about, as
Yeah.
things that we know are supporting the main thing, supporting our main mission. And we've just taken all the other noise and distractions out. So one of the things that we talk about what we're going to let go to create the new thing is to have powerful productivity for us this year is what we're letting go is any noise and distractions that may have seemed important to us in the past,
Mhm.
but they're not. And
Yeah.
all they're doing is just pulling us away from what we need to be doing. Um, so that's how it shows up in the business and our scheduling and our planning and what we execute on every week, every single day in the micro moments, but also in personal life. Um, we want to be able to, the way we built what we're doing in our businesses, we want to be able to say, next Thursday, let's just work up to 12 and just bugger off to whatever and recharge our batteries. We want to be able to say that. And we also want to be very clear enough to know when to say no,
Yeah.
right? Both in like the social life or personal life or just like how I had to cut back on my driving last in December 2024 from the car accident. I had realized I'd been overextending myself and not saying no enough to the things that I think were good things where I was contributing, but I was contributing with life force I didn't have,
Yeah.
right? So this
Yeah.
is a critical one for managing your productivity, your effectiveness and execution and all that stuff. Um, while after we create room for it by eliminating distractions.
Yeah. And this is actually what our entire like business brand becoming the CEO virtual studio is all about, right? It's all about getting rid of the stuff that doesn't matter. Stop building a brand new website. Stop editing your workshop for the 18th time.
Yeah.
Like, stop doing that shit, right? Work on the things that actually matter and get rid of the rest or minimize them drastically or outsource them to someone else or whatever it is. But somehow you can't be doing it all. And this is literally what everything we're doing is about so that people can work on the things that matter, that move the needle the most, that allow them to make the money that they need to make and work 24 hours a week or less so that they can spend the rest of their time being present, doing the things they love with the people they love whenever and wherever they want.
Yeah, I
That's
think
the whole point.
we hear a lot about this with people who've been on the other to the other side of like their first million, tens of millions or more, talk about how after a certain amount of success, say it financially or through fame or whatever it is that they're after a certain amount, it doesn't contribute as much to the happiness. What contributes to happiness is is the time you get back if you use your wealth to allow for that, right?
Yeah.
The
And
time you get back, the energy you get back, the moments you get back,
yeah, and
right?
also we don't have to wait until we make millions.
Yeah,
We can do it right now, right?
yeah,
That's the thing. Anyone can do this. Anyone can live the Friday everyday kind of life right now. It's all about making those decisions, right? So if you are spending 30 and 40 and 50 hours working on your business, but you don't have any clients yet, something is up, right? We need to switch what we're working on because if working on the business means learning a whole bunch of software, building your own website, creating your program, but you haven't connected with anybody, you haven't started getting into the DMs, you're not going to networking events, like when you're not doing the things that are actually going to get you clients, all the rest of it doesn't matter.
yeah,
And so the whole point is that we can live the Friday everyday life right now when we focus on the right things, right?
yeah,
Focus on the right things. Make your business move forward every single week. Set your activity goals. Yes, revenue goals, but set your activity goals. How many DMs are you sending? How many calls are you booking? How many events are you going to? How many are you hosting? Like, this is what people need to do. And I know I'm getting like passionate right now, but it's because I'm literally in a Facebook group with thousands of female entrepreneurs the other day. I was looking for some information actually, but I'm seeing all these people post and everyone's saying like, I'm banging my head against a wall. I've been posting all the time for this, this many months or this many years. I still don't have clients. I've been sending emails. I've been doing this. I've been doing that. And I'm thinking like, okay, we need to change what you're doing because what you're doing isn't working. So let's like dial it back. Let's work on the two or three or four things that actually matter. I actually said to one of our clients the other day, that the number one thing she needs to do is go to networking events without creating more like content and workshops and switching the programs and editing and all that stuff. I'm like 3 to 4 events a week if you can. And if it can't be, then whatever your bandwidth can handle, that's what you need to do,
yeah.
right?
This is a huge reason why we help people get to that point of 24 hours or less a week because it's in the time away from the business, away from all the doing. It's a time away from that and the silence and the stillness that allows for us to have the clarity to go, you know what, I'm doing this thing, but that thing's not producing. What about this? I've been thinking about this for a while, and I feel it might be the opportunity to simplify what I'm doing,
Yeah.
right? I've experienced this when I was competitive powerlifting. I would be constantly changing the program
Okay.
and looking for new supplements and looking for new tricks and exercises and equipment and things to improve my lifts and stuff. When all I really needed to do was stop overtraining.
Yeah.
I was putting in too many hours at the gym, drug-free athlete, also a student, also with a job, you know, not getting enough sleep, all the things. And I didn't have a team around me. I was training solo, occasionally with a training partner.
Right.
So there was a lot of things, balls I had to keep in the air. And I wasn't honoring the fact that I actually need more recovery than like a pro level lifter, right? Who has a whole team and a whole pit crew around him, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
maybe some vitamin S, right? So I had to consider what I was actually working with in order to create that space for me to realize, oh, I just got to go in when I'm 100% and just do things properly. Just
Yeah.
focus on the simplicity of the mechanics of the lift and just do it right.
Yeah. And
And
one
then
thing,
that's when I start to see results.
yeah, and one thing just leads to the next, right? When we
Yeah.
do the right things, we get to work fewer hours, which means we get to spend more time doing the things that we love, which means we don't have to wait to be millionaires before we take that trip on a Thursday night and we do
Yeah.
a night day, which we call it a night day,
Yeah.
or, go out for dinner with a friend or decide to take Friday off or whatever. You can do it now as long as you're focusing on the right stuff and you're moving the needle forward and you're getting shit done.
Yeah, like the the multi-millionaire billionaire version of taking that Thursday might be jumping on their jet and taking off to friggin' somewhere in the country for the next 3 days. That's one version of it. Okay, if that's not your level, a very of a whole other level, maybe of a different success or income bracket would be literally taking 2 extra hours to yourself on a Thursday afternoon instead of
Yeah.
working those 2 hours.
Yeah.
Work up to a certain point before the kids get home. Give yourself a minute, and
Yeah. Go.
and that's your
Like,
Friday everyday vibe, right?
yeah.
And you might enjoy a show that you love. You might take a full 2 hour nap. You might, take that walk you've been wanting to do. Meet that friend for a coffee.
Yeah.
There's everything, all these things that you could do that could create that mini vacation, even almost without spending a lot of money at all.
Yeah.
Pennies, right? So that's the mindset we have to you know take on with this is it's not about just closing up shop on Thursday at noon and taking off in and spending money you don't have somewhere and being extravagant. It's about just giving yourself the time and the space
Yeah.
that allows some of our best ideas were created on the beach, just half an hour from here,
Yes.
or at that place we love to have lunch,
Yeah.
and sometimes on the drive.
Yeah. For sure.
Sometimes there's no destination. Sometimes we don't stop anywhere. We circle around and we continue driving back home, looking at the lake, and that's where all the stuff gets flushed out,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Absolutely. So powerful productivity is the key to the Friday everyday lifestyle. I love
Yes, definitely. Awesome. So moving into the next one, inspired and passionate incentives and
initiatives.
initiatives. Sorry, inspired and passionate initiatives, and I'll share one of mine that I'm working on. But how we're going to create space for this is by letting go of the old ways. We had to do this last year. First quarter was um, even though there's some things that weren't working that we just need to let go of, but also things that were working in the past that were no longer a fit for the future.
Yeah.
We had to let go of that, and quite often it's a ego death thing. Sometimes you got to just, you got to like look at it and go, yeah, it served me well. But I'm being honest with myself that the passion is not a 10 out of 10 in this thing anymore because I've learned what I've needed to learn, right? And I want to experience this whole other thing, right? I remember you said when we were talking about joining forces, you said one of the things you're really passionate about is just helping uh, members and clients get more results through their activity, right? And we're also very passionate about creating experiences. That's where the suburban co-working retreats came from, right? Experiences, connection, community, right? All that was getting us super lit up. We're like, well, how do we make that become the main thing, right? And that's how we kind of evolved. We had to let go of some other stuff,
Yeah.
right? So in business is like what like we talk about what got you here won't get you there,
Yeah.
right? And in personal life is, you know, what are we optimizing for? Like say in your health and your lifestyle, what are you optimizing for in just like your daily routines, your micro habits? Like what does it lead to? Me optimizing in my health leads to me able to play more sports with my son, injury free,
Yeah.
and with less limitation on on how hard I can play because I'm concerned I'm gonna get hurt or something like that, right? So many other factors that come into play that I'm optimizing for, right? So um another thing for me is I keep talking about almost every single year, keep setting this goal, not accomplishing it, is writing and publishing something.
Hmm.
So that's one of the things I'm optimizing for this year is allowing time and space and bandwidth to do my writing often enough to generate something every on a weekly basis, right? Which means I got to do the work during the week.
Yes.
And my first challenge is to see how far I can get in the next 12 weeks, next 90 days or whatever it is. And you're holding me accountable to that. My team on Saturdays is holding me accountable to that. I have a few tips and ideas and strategies, but this is an exciting one to open a door for something exciting to happen in 2026.
For sure. This is one that, yeah, I can't remember a time when you weren't talking about writing a book or getting something out there.
Yeah.
And I think that the opportunity in 2026 to speak our truth and to let go of judgment is going to be a really big game changer for you in terms of being able to write this book and being true to yourself and being true to, what's going on for you and being able to really share that because that is the magic that people need and want. So I'm really excited about this for you. I think for us on the business side, we're probably like, what do they say, kicking a dead horse, but um, we're just so excited and passionate and loving the Becoming the CEO program. Excuse me. We've just made some updates. We've got 20 sessions this month going on. So some new sessions, some new opportunities for people to get involved, be seen, create new relationships, and of course, get shit done. Um, and like you said, when we were talking about joining forces, one of the things that I've always been really passionate about, and you too, is about getting our clients results and
Yeah.
and not being the kind of coaches who are cool with letting people pay you and not worrying about whether they're showing up or not worrying about whether they're actually getting where they need to go or not. And there's a whole other conversation to be had about who's responsible for what and accountability and stuff like that. But of course, our finger is always on the pulse of what's happening and are they getting where they needed to go. And becoming the CEO is just such an amazing space to help people really do that. And that is lighting us up so much. And so, any changes that we made, any decrease in revenue that has happened as a result of it, it's all been worth it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like I mentioned before, it was scary at times making that transition, but we believed so strongly in what it was
Yeah.
that we couldn't let it go. We couldn't look away and we we did what we needed to do along the way as well. We'll probably do a whole other podcast on this for especially for startups
Yeah.
that you may need to even financially, you might even need to do what you need to do to like keep things going,
Yeah.
um, so you can take pressure off of your 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 infant business. You're like that's just starting to grow that needs attention, but without the pressure of that carrying the load of what you need to pay for at the end of the month, right? So there's so many different ways of looking at it as far as allowing space for the creativity. Sometimes pressure creates um, creativity too. If there's a deadline, for example. But
Yeah.
I think a big thing is just kind of, you know, just being aware of what you need to do to keep the needle moving and allowing space for that creative stuff to come through. If there's too much pressure, that sort of goes right into the next theme actually. Um, it could really stifle what you're trying to do and frustrate you.
Yeah. Absolutely. That is definitely, I'm actually writing it down on our podcast notes
Yeah.
um, so that we have an opportunity to really dig into that one because I think it's really important and we've definitely both been in that position and I
Yeah.
think a big one. So we'll save that for its own episode.
Yeah.
But let's get into the last one. So number five, this is all you. This is
Yeah.
humor and fun and how that shows up. So tell us a bit more about what you're thinking here.
Yeah, humor and fun for me is it came back it's funny, I'm thinking about something right now where you and I were lucky enough to um get free Raptors tickets last year, right? And in the past we'd be like, "Oh, it'd be so great
Twice,
to go
actually.
to what?
We got
Twice."
twice. We
Yeah.
got free tickets twice.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yes.
it was great. Date night, whatever, go hit the town. And what's funny is like as much as we love games and we love going, for whatever reason, it was a lot for us,
Yeah.
right? And coming away from those opportunities, which we were also still very grateful for, because it was very lucky how those things happen.
Yeah.
But we're also reevaluating, going, if we had a free night, how would we want to do it, right?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes again, the simplicity. For me too, is I'm one big thing for me this year socially and in my relationships is that person I keep saying we got to get together or we got to do this, we got to do that. I'm engaging the idea of just I'm no longer going to talk about it. I'm just gonna how fast can we make this happen? I literally sat down with a buddy of mine. The other actually didn't sit down. We went mini golfing, went glow in the dark mini golfing. So we had some fun um, and we had something to eat after that. We got a chance to catch up and chat and stuff. And this is all the stuff that reminds us who we really are,
Yeah.
especially when spent doing the things we love with the people we love. Um, and just making even in a world sometimes can be really stressful. There'd be a lot of noise and stuff going on out in the world right now. Um, Keeps it light enough that we can still um, take a breath and just be authentic and be in the spaces and with the people that we love and humor. If you're laughing a lot in these situations, that means you're probably in the right place. Um, Laughter's good. Fun, playfulness. How we're going to create space for this by letting go of drama in our life, letting go of pressure. Sometimes we could take ourselves way too seriously, especially as business, as entrepreneurs. So much pressure that we can't even relax. We finally get a social event to go to, and we can't relax,
Yeah.
right? And we're checking the watch a lot. We don't want to you want to drink too much or you don't want to stay out too late because you're worried that it's going to affect something tomorrow. Sometimes that's just standards, and sometimes that's just us stressing out or you stressing out or us, I mean us as in a general sense, stressing out about all this stuff that we're taking so freaking seriously. We're not only having fun doing it anymore,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's what it looks like in a business and in personal life too, is prioritizing prioritizing what really matters.
Yeah.
Right? I had a moment, excuse me.
Blessing.
I had a moment at a tournament recently that we were at that we did okay at. Prior to that, the boys won the tournament before that, but
Yep.
the first two games we had lost, and the second day, knowing that we were probably eliminated from the tournament, we set to sort of gear up to play. Right? The
Yeah.
next morning, for game one, they played phenomenally and they won. And my son in the car driving out, we are going to go grab lunch with the team. He said, "Dad, the reason why we played so well today is because we were having fun again.
Yeah.
There was no longer any pressure or drama around we have to win or else we're going to get eliminated. We're
Yeah.
already eliminated. So we just played." Right? And we just played the way we normally play the way we love to play, right? And
Yeah.
we had a good time. We have to be having fun, or else what's the point? Like he actually said that to me, right?
He's
And it
wise beyond his
and
years.
and it makes so much sense. And then, interestingly enough, the next game after that was against the second highest ranked team in the whole tournament. We ended up winning.
Yeah.
And there was a remote opportunity where we're going to actually make it into the next round, but it was dependent on other teams losing and other teams winning and
Right.
stuff like that, which is not an optimal situation to be in. But he reminded me that they are fully aware whether or not they're having fun,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Last
that's a
two
good
games
one.
coming back from the holidays, they've rested, they've had some time off, they had some time with family and friends and stuff. They've been chilling out, gaming, doing whatever they do on their own time.
Yeah.
We were worried they were going to be performing less, like not as well in these next two games after the holidays. They've been performing amazingly well because they're regenerated, right? And
Yeah.
they're having fun again. So this is important to remember in everything we do,
Yeah. I
right?
think this one comes in so much with the like with the personal side too. I think I said this to you maybe just a couple weeks ago how, often when you get older, it's harder to take part in, group activity or games or things like that, right? You can go to the gym, you can go to a group fitness class. Like that's not my jam. Might be lots of other people's, but it's not for me. I said to you, I asked you if you would run a basketball type of clinic or, 12-week session or something if we could find the space for women 40 plus. I was half kidding because I like to play basketball even though I'm 5'2" and no, but I like to play and you actually have lots of expert experience and knowledge in basketball. And we play together in the summer, which is really fun. And, I'm also looking for more ways to have fun doing activity as well, right? With your friends, with your people, being social, not only working out because you have to. So there's a bit of a combination of the habits coming together with the fun, coming together with the passion, right? Coming together with the relationships. Like it's all these things that are combined into one.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure there's a lot of people who are listening who have already gotten on this bandwagon, but I actually signed up for my first pickleball session for this weekend. I'm on the wait list, so I'm hoping that it comes through.
Mhm.
But it's time to try something different. I really like to get into something where you go and you see people and some weeks they're the same and some weeks they're not, but you're building relationships and you're making new friends and you're doing something that's fun and you're getting your sweat on and all those things can happen at one time. And I really love that idea and that feeling and looking for more of it for sure in this coming year. So
Yeah, when the community center opened it up just nearby us,
yeah,
just literally last summer we were looking at the floor plans and the renderings and stuff, and and then when all of a sudden we stepped into the place, it was the grand opening and stuff, and it was just fun, right? It was just fun being there and seeing the gym and all the stuff, and it's like, um, but until we be like fully engage in it, we'll never really experience
yeah,
what it is, right? So eventually we're both going to get there. You've been there for a couple swims already, but
yeah,
this is all part of it, right? It's all part of the lifestyle that we want to have, what we want to experience. Like, what are we working hard for, anyways? Right? So we can have experiences,
yeah,
right? So we can create time and space and energy and finances to experience the things we want to experience in life. So always making room for fun, again, and it doesn't have to cost a lot of money either. It could be very simple as it could be getting together with a friend. Like, who do you know that you can sit down with a coffee with and you're 100% positive you can guarantee that you will be laughing hard with that person. Like
yeah.
we all have a friend like that, right? So get with that person, make it work, So these things are important and it gives you some fuel to your fire when you come back to your business, come back to your everyday life.
Love it.
Awesome. So, any final words or thoughts with regards to this session? I added some other things here to share just before we close out, but what's coming up for you right now so far?
Okay, so in um, the spirit of micro habits and micro goals, instead of having a word for the year, I do have it, but instead of focusing on that one so much, I actually have a word for the month. And the word for the month is double down. Maybe it's two words, but double down is the word for the month. And it's all about being super intentional about what you're working on, what is bringing you the greatest ROI, right? What is making you the happiest? What is bringing you all the good stuff in both business and in life, and to get at it. So if you used to host one event a month, maybe you host two. If you used to go to one event a month, maybe you go to two or three or four. If you have been sending 5 DMs a day, maybe you go to 10, right? It's like do more, double down on the stuff that you love to do that is working, right? And let's just get started at a quicker pace so that we can kick off the year really, really strong. And we're not ending up in February and March and April going, oh shit, I'm behind on my goals already, right? It's like, let's double down on all the things that have to happen in the business, but also in life. Spend more time, book the date night, book the time with your kids, whatever it is, plan something special, double down.
Yeah, I think also too, when we were setting up the schedule and everything, what we're being extremely mindful of, and this is what I would share with everybody else, is um, uh, if you are adding those things, adding the date night, adding the coffee chat, adding, working out or whatever,
Yeah,
you have to audit. At some level, you got to audit what's going on right now, to figure out what you can let go of that's not really serving.
yeah,
Because if we're not doing all those other things that's serving the goals and serving the mission, we're likely just addicted to or defaulting to other things.
yeah.
Quite often,
AKA scrolling.
yeah, quite often that thing is in our hand, right?
Yeah,
So that's something to be wary of. It might be something where you sacrifice, another season of Love is Blind to have extra time, to have an extra couple hours a night to write or play chess with your kid or do something else, right? That's a little bit more
yeah,
fulfilling.
yeah,
In the end of the day, you'll realize the value. You'll never regret it, right?
yeah,
So um, that's something that's coming up for me after what you had just said, and I think being for me, my words, very awake and intentional in order to optimize for that boldness that I'm looking to show up and throughout the year. Also, if you, one of the things I wanted to share is if you haven't yet completed the process of letting go of, even emotionally, mentally, writing down, journaling, letting go of things of the year prior that you don't want to bring into the new year, allow some time for that as soon as possible, to be honest with you. It's only one session, one sitting down session to do that.
yeah,
And then completing, your goals, whether it be business or financial, would be one category. Another one would be your health. Another one would be probably your relationships and family life, right? Let's
yeah,
actually change that order to your personal health and well-being first. Secondly, your relationships and family life. And third, your business and finance, right? Each one feeds into the other. I heard from somebody the other day in that order.
yeah,
So take that time. And the other thing is, um, who do you need to connect with right now? After listening to our conversation, one thing that we're really excited about now, and we've already started doing, was doing more in-person events, attending more in-person events,
yeah,
making those connections with people. Yes, online too, but more so also we've been doing more in-person connections.
yeah,
Who do you need to connect with that you will enjoy? You enjoy each other's time, you enjoy the experience, you both will come away re-energized, because that could really light the fire and set the tone for the first quarter of the year as well. And then we want to, if you can, try to create that as a regular staple in the scheduling.
yeah,
Um, the third one is, how will you manage your health? I talked about health earlier as being a higher priority. How will you manage your health from a higher standard of care, um, and acted upon through your micro habits that we discussed earlier? That's a good question to ask yourself in a journal. And and finally, if you're an entrepreneur, solo entrepreneur that is wanting to enjoy a bit more of what we're bringing here and more connection, more mastermind, more working with others and getting shit done. If you're not in our 21-day trial right now or experiencing an opportunity to 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 learn about what we have going on in the space, definitely hit us up, connect with us, and we can share more information there. But that's all. That's it for now. I think we have a lot more coming down the pipe after this conversation. But if is there anything else to share from here for you?
No, just if you want to get the 21-day trial for becoming the CEO, just send us a DM at Jody Rumack Coaching on Instagram. That's probably the best place to find us. And just send us BTC inside that message, and we'll know exactly what you're looking for, and we'll get you all set up. But yeah, this is a longer one. This is a
Yeah.
great conversation. I hope there are some gold nuggets that people were able to pull from this. We love to hear your questions and comments. If you have any of them, drop them below, send them to us in a DM, whatever you need to do. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying these sessions. And of course, pass it along. If there's someone else that you know who you think could really benefit from listening to any of our sessions, then please pass it along to them. We'd love to have them and love to connect with you guys. So thank you so much. Have an amazing rest of your day. And we look forward to seeing you back in the next episode.
All right. See you soon.